Good morning, evening, or Judgment Day. This is your host, Chadzilla here. And today I just wanted to do a little random video. There's a nasty echo coming off those drums. Little video here about thrift store finds that I've found in the past week. And I've actually made 2 trips to my local Goodwill in the past week and a half. One of those was today, just a couple hours ago, just got back. So, just a few things. And nothing mind-blowing, nothing spectacular, but just some fun, interesting little trinkets. First off, a Ps1 Classic, which I have actually never played, Destruction Derby 2. And my interest in this game actually came around from, if you are familiar with the YouTuber Cadicarus, or if you aren't, he's fantastic. Please check out his work. He did an extended, very good and very funny look at this game about a year ago, I think. So my knowledge of this game comes from that video, and just for novelty's sake, I decided to pick it up. It's in good shape. As far as I can tell, should play fine. PS1 discs are pretty hard to destroy. So it is, as you can probably tell, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's called Destruction Derby. It's a racing game that has smash 'em up elements to it. It has an arena mode where it's just sort of this giant circular track where you just battle to the death, just smash as many cars as you can. So not up to snuff with like Gran Turismo or something like that as far as PS1 racing games go, but still, from what I've seen, it looks pretty fun. Alright. Fantasy novel by Mercedes Lackey, and that name rings a bell. I've only recently started reading fantasy novels, so there are a lot of classics I need to get around to. I'd honestly never heard of this one. It's Bardic Voices, Book 1, The Lark and the Wren. Again, that is Mercedes Lackey, who's the author on here. And I did start reading this, have not finished it yet. Seems alright. Honestly, it caught my interest because it's a fantasy novel, and, you know, thrift store, dirt cheap. I figured why not. And right now in a current campaign, I'm playing a bard, and I do enjoy playing bard characters, so reading bard stories is always interesting to me. Alright. Okay, something a little more well-known. Ender's Shadow by Orson Scott Card. And I have not read any of the Ender books yet. Actually, I haven't read anything by Card. And it says this is a companion volume. It doesn't say it's a sequel. One that expands and complements the first, so I believe this takes place in tandem with the first book. And I have seen the movie. Like I said, I've not read the book. Liked the movie, so I decided I would check this out. And since I do know the plot based on having seen the movie, twice actually, figured I would not be completely lost, hopefully. I mean, I know they do. Obviously, they have changed some things in the adaptation, but I figured it would not be too much of a stretch to be able to read this. And, yeah, good old Orson Scott Card. Horrible human being, but from what I can tell, pretty decent sci-fi author. Alright, sci-fi yet again. Arthur C. Clarke's 2010 Odyssey 2. And, yeah, little scuffs here, shelfware, but honestly, the front of this is in decent shape for a paperback you'd find at a thrift store. And I have not read, again, God, I'm so behind on my reading. I have not read anything in whole by Arthur C. Clarke yet. But 2001: A Space Odyssey by Kubrick is one of my favorite films of all time, so this is a sequel to the 2001 story, and there is the third Odyssey, and I cannot remember the title of that one, but I figured I would check this out. Definitely want to give this a read as soon as possible. Alright. Jerry Maguire on VHS. Movie I have not actually seen, and that's mostly because I'm not a sports movie guy. I'm really not. I do like Cameron Crowe's work, for the most part, from what I've seen. And I do like Tom Cruise as an actor, so I have heard very good things about this movie, so I figured I will check this out eventually. Alright, something I picked up today, The Crow on VHS. Yeah, yet again, another classic movie I have not watched yet. So, hopefully, sometime this week I will just sit down, take some time, and watch this classic. And I have seen enough of it to know that it is a movie I will enjoy. Yet again, God, I'm just hitting myself over the head for not seeing these excellent movies. Schindler's List on VHS. I really hope this throne is not too squeaky. Alright. This is a big one. Double VHS, because obviously the movie's over 3 hours long. I love Spielberg. This is honestly one of the very few Spielberg movies I have not watched. And it's probably his most well-renowned. So, yet again, sometime this week, hopefully I will get around to doing that. Alright, and 2 albums on vinyl that I picked up, who share a connection with one another, and I have not heard of these. And these, from what I can tell, these are local releases. I live in North Carolina, and these were released by Dolphin Records in Durham, so that's interesting. And these are both compilation LPs by local bands, from what I can tell, local North Carolina bands. First was an '83 release, and this is Mando Montage. And honestly, what caught my eye with these was the nice pop art, sort of very 90s art for these covers. And this is more Mando. Like I said, these are both compilations. They're all North Carolina artists in the 70s and 80s. I'm guessing none of these names are ringing a bell, so I'm guessing these were all local, smaller, independent bands, all under the same label. And these were just, well, actually this is a gatefold. Yeah. Kind of eye-catching little gatefold here, with information on every band that appears on this album. And this release also has information about each band, but it's on the back, and this is not a gatefold. So I have no idea what these sound like, but they're in decent shape, and for 75 cents, why not? Especially something local, find something interesting. That would be pretty fascinating to find some local bands. Alright, that is everything from thrift stores. And just this weekend, I stopped in a Kroger and was perusing their bargain DVD section, so picked up 2 things. Just wanted to share these. First up is the Green Hornet. This was I believe it was 2011 film by Michel Gondry, who is an excellent director. If you've seen Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, honestly, that is the only film of his that I have seen. And I did see this when it first came on DVD. I rented it, and I liked it, actually. Not a great movie, by any means. I am a Seth Rogen fan. I do like Seth Rogen. I do like Christoph Waltz. And I do like Michel Gondry. So I think it's decent fun. This movie got a lot of crap when it first came out. A lot of critics were very harsh to it. I honestly don't think it did all that well at the box office either. But honestly, I remember enjoying it. And this was a few years ago, back when I was away at college. So I do want to give that another watch, and I'm glad to own it. Alright, next up is the Wolverine Anime that Marvel put out back in 2012. Well, 2011 was when it was produced, and 2012 is when this DVD set was released. This is a 2-disc set, and I have only had time to watch the first 2 episodes on this. So far, it seems intriguing. I don't know if I want to say I particularly love it yet, because honestly not much has happened yet. This is the complete series. These were just sort of like one-off seasons that Marvel did. There was an Iron Man series, there was Blade, and I want to say there was an X-Men one too, but I could be wrong. No, could be wrong on that. I'm actually honestly not sure. I know there was Blade, I know there was Iron Man, but I have not seen any of them yet. And as you can tell, the Wolverine here is, the Logan character is younger than he's usually portrayed. So that's interesting. It is set in Japan, and from what I can tell, it's possibly based on. Actually, no, it isn't. I was going to say it was based on the story called Wolverine that Frank Miller and Chris Claremont worked on, but just from reading the blurb on the back here, and honestly, like I've said, I've only seen the first 2 episodes, apparently it is not. Even though it does take place in Japan. And interesting thing about these are not, when I first saw the trailers for these, I honestly thought it was going to be like a Last Airbender deal, where it's an American production, but it takes influence from Japanese animation and anime, just to kind of hone in on a growing audience, and just for stylistic purposes. And that's not to say anything bad about Last Airbender. Last Airbender is a great show. But no, these are not. These are purely Japanese creations, and I think that's interesting. And from what I can see, this does have a dub on it. When I just popped the DVD in and started watching, it was the Japanese language track with subtitles that I was watching. So, and it says languages English and Japanese, so apparently there is a dub on this disc, so I will have to check that out and compare the two. When it comes to anime, I'm not a must be subbed must be dubbed person. Personally, for me, it's just by the dub. If the dub sucks, I watch it in Japanese. If the dub is good, I watch the dub. That's just how I am. Alright, that is everything. Just random little finds video. Hope you find this interesting. I will see you next video.